Hi everybody, I'm a UC Davis student like you, and I thought it would be helpful to give you a quick demo of how you'll use the Zoom video conferencing software in your classes. Your professor will probably provide additional details on Canvas and might ask you to do things a little differently, but here's what you should need to get started. First, you need to create a Zoom account and download the software. I explained that in a separate video. I put a link to that video in the comments section. Your professor will probably have you access Zoom meetings by going to the Zoom tool in Canvas. Here we're looking at the Zoom page in an example course called Psych 182. In the Upcoming Meetings tab, you'll see a list of the scheduled meetings. They probably all have the same name. For example, here you can see a bunch of lines that all say Weekly Undergrad Lab Meetings. That may seem confusing, but each one has a separate date, indicating when that lecture or discussion section will be held. These are all the regularly scheduled lectures for this course. They'll meet at the regularly scheduled time for the course, but a recording will be provided in case you can't attend in real time. To join the Zoom meeting on a given date, you just need to find the line with that date. For example, if it was April 3rd, I'd find the line with that date and then just click or touch the join button. Here's what happens when I do that. I'm doing it from a computer, and it might look a little different if you're doing it from a smartphone or tablet. There are other ways of joining a meeting, and your professor may recommend a different way of joining. If possible, you should try to connect a few minutes before class starts. This is showing what Zoom will look like if you join from a computer. I'll show you what it looks like on a tablet or smartphone in a minute. In smaller classes, you'll join with your video so that everyone can see you. Of course, you can turn your video off if you don't want to be seen. In larger classes, you'll join without video and leave your video off. In either case, your mic should be muted when you start. You want to keep it muted unless you need to say something to the class. If your mic is on, but you're not talking, background noise from your location may make it hard for other students to hear the professor. In most large classes, you'll mainly communicate using the chat tool. Canvas also has a chat tool, but that's different. Use the Zoom chat tool during an online class unless your professor tells you otherwise. If you have a question, you can just type it here. In larger classes, a TA will be monitoring the chat tool and may answer your questions or ask the professor to answer. The professor or TA may also post information in the chat window, so keep it open if you can. Zoom also lets you communicate with little icons. Click on Participants and you can see a Raise Hand button, a Yes button, and a No button. If you can, leave the Participants window open throughout the class period, along with the chat window. The Raise Hand button is mainly useful in smaller classes. If you click the Raise Hand button, it sends a signal to your professor or TA, who will then call on you to ask your question. Don't forget to unmute your mic before talking. When you're done, click lower hand and mute your mic. It can be hard for the professor or TA to see that you've raised your hand, so be patient. The professor may ask the class to answer simple yes/no questions by clicking on the yes and no button in the participants window. If you're using a smartphone or tablet instead of a computer, you need to briefly touch the Zoom screen to reveal the tools I've been talking about. For example, the participants button is down at the bottom here. When I click it, I can raise my hand or give a yes or no response. On a smartphone, you may need to click the More button. If I do this, I see the chat tool. If I swipe the whole screen to the left, I see options for controlling my microphone and video. In a smaller class where students are showing their video, I can swipe to the right to see all the students. On a tablet, the controls may appear at the top of the screen instead of the bottom. And you may see a button that says Switch to Gallery View. In a smaller class, this lets you see all the students at the same time. The other possibility is Speaker View, which shows a large image of whoever is speaking. Things might look different on your device, but I hope you get the general idea. All this stuff is easiest to do on a computer. A tablet is okay, it's not great on a phone, but if that's all you have, you can probably make it work. If the professor is asking you to do something that doesn't work on your device, let them know. If you have a computer but no Wi-Fi, you may be able to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot using your phone and use that to connect your computer to the internet. Here are a couple websites with information designed to help you connect. The last thing I want to talk about is what to do if and when you have connectivity problems. This will probably happen at some point, so you should be prepared. If possible, ask other people in your household not to use the internet, especially video, during your class periods. That way you won't be competing with your little brother playing Fortnite. And you should probably wear headphones or earbuds if you're in a noisy environment. If things start looking or sounding garbled, the first thing to do is make sure your video and audio are turned off in Zoom. If just the audio is bad, you can actually get audio by calling a phone number, which your professor will provide. If nothing else works, you can just quit from Zoom and call that number. You'll be able to hear and speak, which is better than nothing. Hopefully your professor has posted any slides or other materials to Canvas prior to the lecture. You should download those in advance so you can follow along while you're listening to the audio. Your professor should be recording the audio and video from the Zoom meeting, so you can access it after the class is over. It's better to attend in real time if you can, but the recording will be a reasonable substitute. Keep in mind that this recording will include you if your video or audio are on. The professor may also make the chat text available. It will probably take several hours after the class period is over for the recording to become available, so don't bug your professor about it unless at least 8 hours have passed. To access the recording, just go to the Zoom tool in Canvas and click on the Cloud Recordings tab. Alternatively, the professor may make the recordings available through the Media Gallery tool or with the link from somewhere else in Canvas. Well, that's my quick overview of Zoom. I hope you found it helpful. Don't forget to download our quick guide and have it with you for the first few classes. This is going to be a stressful quarter, so take care of yourself, and keep in mind that you can access the student counseling services remotely. If you're feeling depressed or highly anxious, you can call 530-752-0871 to schedule an appointment with a counselor or to hear more about counseling resources on campus. Check out the Student Health website for other options, and I hope to see you on campus soon.